Okay, if you think I'm going to do speech, firstly I'm going to tell you the interest and motivation for the feminist movements, and secondly I'm going to tell you what's urgent for the feminist movements, and lastly how is this the only way that women should be in, the women could gain their rights back. So firstly, let's look at the interest and motivation for feminist movements. So firstly, feminist movement, they of course want to empower women, hold the rights of women high, and of course opposes the stigma that men are better than women. So secondly, to the motivation, of course, they built the feminist movement. They exist because of the existing stigma that is that I've said, and a feeling of unfairness towards that stigma, past repressions towards women, such as the right of education, right to vote, etc. And then. And then they built this feminist movement just to ask for their rights to be given, and secondly, or thirdly, their capability. Let's look at the capability for these feminist movements, right? So what they can do is firstly they can voice out their opinions in a significant way. This could include protests, marches, demos, etc. And secondly, they could reach a wide range of people, which both in location and personality. They could reach either the members or other people outside of the feminist movement, and lastly, the president or the president or what happens or what they have done in the past, right? So look at the black women. For example, let's take the black women or women in general in America, which they had been exposed to strict voting rules, or more often than not, weren't allowed to vote at all, right? So until a movement run by women and protest, which they ran protests and pressured the government, which then ultimately led them to participate in votes. Or let's just look at the national context, which is or actual examples, which I will take is Kartini, which changed the law slash mindset of Indonesians under colonialism that women are not allowed education, which she then changed it into what is now currently going on, which are women are allowed education the same way men do, or equal education for women, right? So these proves that the moves or feminist movements have been successful and have impacted significantly, not only in their countries or not only in the range that they are working with, but also globally, because this, of course, these movements have had an effect in the global mindset of women and men in general. So. And all of those movements, of course, existed due to stigmas and that narratives that men are better than women, and this stigma comes from beliefs, norm, religion, and their culture, right? So it manifests into idealism that women should only let's say do the housework, must do cooking, must know how to sweep the floor, and only please their husband, right? Even though the husband also must be able to do all that as well, because it's the husband must also please his wife, also know how to keep the cleanliness, how to cook for survival, and because these are basic human needs, right? And so we believe that this is unfair, and women also have suffered for a longer time, and their rights have been taken for a longer time than men do. Therefore, it's only fair that we should encourage women to be selfish regarding their rights, which brings me to my main argument here on the urgency for women to ask, or for feminist movements to encourage women to be selfish. Firstly, what is selfish on our side? So selfish means we want them to be selfish about their rights. We want them to get their rights in any way possible without considering other people, right? So let's say we mainly focus on their right to vote and their right of education. regarding their to vote, we want them to vote for the candidate that let's say only concerns their own personal interest slash pleasure without any consideration for the impact towards others. While on education, they can choose to learn subjects that only fit their interest or their pleasure or their I guess concerns. And why are we only circulating on these two rights, right? So because those are the rights that have been taken the most out of women and has impacted them the most than any other right that have been taken from them. So it then manifests into different starting points, and basically it's the rights that they deserve most to be given back, or to be given fully, and which cost them the most impact. And then, how is this the only way women can gain their rights back? So the premises is that if they're not selfish, they're not going to. People are not going to give their rights immediately because of that long-standing stigma that is rooted deeply in most people, in most individuals at the status quo, right? So how to get rid of this stigma, how to gain their rights away from the stigma, is to by force, right? Because we see that these feminist movements usually take place, let's say, diplomatically, and maybe through peaceful means. But we see that these softer approaches to asking for their rights is of course ineffective and a little bit inefficient, because it does take a long time to consider and change those deeply rooted interests or deeply rooted stigmas that have been planted in society, right? So it needs to be taken by force, and the only way to do that is selfishly, or the only way that the feminist movement can gain that is through encouraging their members and encouraging women in general to be selfish and not consider not consider the effects or the consequences of not being seen as how a woman should be, right? Or not facing the repercussions for that, facing the repercussions regarding the stigma. So why the people more so on our side, women will be given back their rights by acting selfish. The narrative or stigma that men are better than women would be erased, or at least strongly opposed, because the capabilities that feminist movements have, and on their side women would still be repressed, and the belief or the stigma would to not be by the belief that the stigma to not be selfish, it's the same as the repressions that they have faced. So they will only exacerbate, they will only be more repressed for asking their rights. So it does not solve the problem comparatively. Therefore, we on our side are better than them. Thank you.